Hello and welcome to another episode of DC Alliance. I don't know why it feels like it has been so long since I've said that. We were just on for, well, technically not live, but we
Yeah.
recorded Superman and Lois, which was technically from the time of us being live here on YouTube. It was yesterday that dropped. So a little shameless plug right there for another DCA episode. But of course, I am your host, Fanboy Clay. Uh, Travis is here with me every single week. I don't know why I'm fumbling right now. Uh
You got this. You got this.
but how you doing, man? How you doing?
Pretty good. Like I was saying to you, like stuff we'll get into later, but woke up to about 20 minutes of reading in the GUA chat. There were messages galore.
It
Um,
was glorious, man.
I
The
regret
memes
going to
alone.
bed. I
The
regret going to
memes
bed.
alone. So okay, but let's be honest though. When it went down, it was let's see here. Let me see if I can do my Newfoundland math here. So it went down at like 10:30 my time. So then that means that's 11 to it was like 1 o'clock when
Correct.
everything went
Correct.
down for you. So I don't know if you should have exactly stayed up. I went to bed at like midnight. I was like, okay, I'm done. Like as much as I probably could scroll through all the memes for like another 2 hours, I'm just gonna chill because even today the memes kept coming.
Oh,
Great.
shout
It's
out,
amazing.
one shout out, especially to Joe from A Walk Through the Multiverse, because he was the MVP of the chat this morning and today, bringing in all the memes. Well, everyone else brought in some other ones, but
Yeah,
uh,
Esphobes is saying 1 minute after I stopped watching, it happened. Uh and it was so funny. I was scrolling through Twitter as well. And of course, our co-host Katie on the GUA. I saw her like put a tweet out like literally 10 minutes before. She was like, "Oh man, I'm getting so tired. I need to wake up early. I guess I'll just learn about the best actor and best picture in the morning." Well, Katie, you found out a lot more, and it was so good. It was so good.
195 unread messages, listeners, were in my GUA chat when I woke up this morning. It was a free for all, and it was so funny. I was crying in bed reading them, and I just want to say one thing because I actually saved this reaction to it because first of all, I've lived a pretty good life. Like I haven't had many ups and many downs. I can't complain. But I wish I could live in the fantasy perfect world that Judd Apatow lived in when he said
Oh,
he could have killed him. That's pure out of control rage and violence. I mean, like I've gotten
I
chased
even
by
said
bullies that were worse than that.
I said in the GUA chat that was excessive. Like
Yeah,
y'all need to calm the fuck down with some of those
should
comments.
never have happened. We're all in
But
agreement that that should never
but
happen.
there is such a divide on this, which is actually insane here.
Yeah,
Absolutely insane. There is a huge divide on this. I've been very vocal on what my side is in the GUA chat. Um,
I
and
haven't really.
don't get me wrong, I get the argument, or just not even the argument, the statement of they were both in the wrong. Uh, you know, as far as like the way
90%, 10%? Yeah. If you're saying there's percentages, yeah, I'm not saying 50-50 because uh, S
I,
bumps in the chat, the dot of justice. I'm sorry, Clay. I
dude,
know I
that
put
meme
us on
was
ground.
hilarious. That meme was hilarious. Save Martha. Keep my mom's name out your fucking mouth.
It's just like,
Oh, it's
I'm
so good.
sorry. I
It's
was just
so
shocked.
good.
Like listeners, you never should do that. That's a no. If it was about defending anyone's honor, you would have done that at the after party or right after. You would have went out back and
And
chat with him.
I
You do it for
and
show. And if
and
it was
I
Jason
said
Momoa presenting, I don't think this would have went down the same thing. And Jason Momoa's not a trained fighter or anything, but I just don't think it goes down. Goes down that way. If
so all in the game is saying Willis should have composed himself and used the acceptance speech to work in a great compliment about his wife and her hair loss. He continues to say Chris Rock could possibly have worked in a clever, classy, and complimentary Dora Milaje joke about Jada, but instead went with the outdated G.I. Jane. Now, I will say this: G.I. Jane is definitely outdated because
Oh my God, yes.
there is a lot of people who didn't get the joke. They were so confused as of why the reaction happened the way it did.
And this is the thing I got to speak to.
When was G.I. Jane even
In the early
relevant?
90s, and this is the thing too. I remember we had this discussion with I had this discussion with Travis Snell like a year ago or so or two, talking about like I don't think he realized like how big of the action stars like Arnold and Tom and like all those guys were back in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And the same thing here. Demi Moore was a absolute powerhouse, listeners. If she was attached to
Yes.
something, it was
Yes.
getting made back then.
Yeah.
And this was terrible, terrible, terrible. This movie, and everyone took it as the hair loss stuff.
Now, somebody tried to defend Chris by saying like,
Oh,
"Oh, G.I. Jane was like a powerhouse like woman movie, and like it like should actually like she should boast about it." And I was like, You need to calm yourself down."
everyone
But
needs
like
to calm down. But let us have the
even
memes for one night, Judd
when it
Apatow,
happened,
please.
I even said, because there was a lot of people, they're like, "Oh, he just punched the shit out of him. He punched him." I was like, "No, that was a slap." And the slap, because a punch is a punch. Like let's just a punch is a punch. A slap is so goddamn disrespectful. Like
Clay,
there is a
that would
reason why
happen.
people like pull out the glove and smack people. Like
That
it
would
is
happen at the
disrespectful.
player hater ball. That wouldn't happen that shouldn't happen at the Oscars. And anyone who watched Dave Chappelle show, you will know that skit. I'm
Oh
pretty sure
man.
that actually happened there. So yeah, I was in shock. I wanted to mention it. I knew we would get off on tangent a little bit, but it was just crazy. Shout out to Deadshot. You just don't mess with DC villains, I guess.
Well, I will say this: I don't think Will Smith is going to be coming into James Gunn's world because he won't be able to take a joke. But let's go ahead and jump into the network plugs with that little diss there. Of course, DC Alliance is a part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network, which just means that we have a plethora of shows here. 8 shows, 7 days a week on a weekly and bi-weekly basis. On a bi-weekly schedule, of course, we have starting back up in April on Sundays, I believe, is a slice of film with Katie, Mark, and Sarah. The first episode is going to be get to know the hosts. That's going to be really fun. So everybody who listens to the GUA, you're going to be welcomed into learning about 2 new hosts on our network. Of course, on Mondays is Ranger Alliance and a walk, not a walk through the multiverse, World's Finest True Believers. Now, Ranger Alliance just had an episode last week with me and Jake talking about the Back in Time episode in season 2, which actually was really terrible. Was not like what I thought it was when I was a kid.
A lot of
But
these episodes are, Clay. A lot of these
but
episodes are.
what I'm really excited about is next week, me and Joe are going to be talking about Godzilla versus Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue number 1. That
Ooh.
is a very interesting book. It's going to be a little funny when we talk about a certain scene, but I will save that for the podcast. But World's Finest True Believers, our host here on the DCA, Hines, was actually on their last episode, talking, I believe, year 3.
Year 5. We
Year
finally wrapped it
5.
up. I first shout out to Chris for
God
putting
damn,
up with me
mine
for
was so
5
behind.
recordings. 5 recordings. Shout out to Chris for
Nice.
I can be annoying. So you know that Clay haven't put up with me every week, sometimes twice a week. But yeah, it was so much fun. It was for me. It was therapy after the 3rd year because we were talking about it after the animated film, which was probably the most I've been disappointed for a film in quite some time. Every time I don't even mind thinking about it. But yeah, we talked about all the great things, and it was such a cool way. Like I forgot how they tied it into the events of the game. Like with the issues, it was such a great job. And
Now,
yeah,
are you hoping to go for Injustice 2 or like?
he said I could if I wanted to, but I don't know. I have a lot of books in this shelf here that I kind of want to read some of them and pick them instead. But I don't know. If I see somebody going with Injustice 2, I'm going to definitely feel like how Christian Bale felt when he found out Ben Affleck was Batman. I was like, man, like I should have done that, shouldn't I? I really should have. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I'll move on to something else. So that's kind of my thinking. I want to do Spider-Man book with him. So yeah, we'll wait
Very
on that.
nice. Very, very nice. And of
But
course,
shout out to Chris. It was so much fun.
and our last episode for the bi-weekly schedules is, of course, Joe with a walk through the multiverse. I believe his next episode is going to be, or his last episode, excuse me, was episode on Jack Reacher. I am currently in the middle of that, so I have not watched it yet or listened to it. I am enjoying it. It's actually a really, really good show. Alan Richardson is a great series actor. I think that his best move was getting out of Titans and jumping
Can I
on
say
to
something?
this. What?
You know what? I'd have to rewatch it, and I don't think I'm going to put myself through that. But just thinking about it, I think he had the best moments of the season.
Yes.
And like and his comeback episode in the Purgatory was amazing.
The only good thing. Well,
no, Minka Kelly, don't you dare!
I was gonna say,
don't you dare!
Minka, and Alan were the only two things.
We're not going to hold anything. We're not going to hold a giant that right of how Wonder Girl died. We're not going to hold that against the actress because even she said it was terrible. She said it was terrible. I'm not going to hold. I'll give her another chance because it's not. Nobody wants to. How? Moving on. Let's keep going.
Moving on.
Sorry.
So yeah, a walk through the multiverse. Jack Reacher. Go watch the series and then go listen to that review. It's in my queue. I'm just unfortunately having to push it down until I finish the series. And then, of course, our weekly shows is DC Alliance, Superhero Discussions, Star Wars Alliance, and of course, Marvel Alliance. Star Wars, DC, and Marvel all have their own solo feeds. So if you would like to listen to those separately, you definitely can. But this is also an ad-supported network as well as a listener-supported network. So here on the YouTube channel, live with us, for those of you watching with us, you will not get the ads. You'll just have us, a little peek for all you listeners out there, a little peek under the veil. YouTube just watches us stare at each other intently and for like 4 seconds, and then we continue doing what we do. But with that, we don't choose these ads. We don't choose how many times they repeat themselves. And we don't choose the volume. So we will warn you so that way you can turn your volume down just a bit. But if you also don't want to listen to the ads and not go on YouTube, you can always join our Patreon. $1 tier just says a thank you, but a $5 tier does give you that exclusive access. A lot of us are really pushing out the content right now for this year. That's one of our biggest goals for 2022. And that will also get you the early access to the shows that we put out every single week. All right. Well, that is it. That is it for the plugs. Heinz, I do not have the numbers in front of me.
I have.
Our first topic of the day will be a update on the Batman's box office. So what is that looking like?
Well, it was a little bit slower of a week this week, and the China pandemic, I want to put context in with these numbers because they're talking about how China has been disappointing. We have to put into the fact that 30% of their theaters were closed during this push of this run of this film. So they are losing out quite a bit.
But I did see that is going to possibly end with an 800 to an 850 million global run, which is
pretty
essentially good. 100 more than what I had suggested that it or predicted. And then that's kind of right where Heinz said that it was going to go. It didn't quite reach $1 billion, but who knows what will happen. Now, I will say this, in a very unexpected turn of events in the US, that Channing Tatum and who's the other freaking
Sandra
actress?
Bullock?
Sandra Bullock movie.
And Brad Pitt.
Is Brad Pitt in there too?
I think I saw 3 of them in a trailer for that on March Madness. And I'm like, that was my thought. That's a weird pairing, but apparently it's working. They're doing numbers.
They got the #1 box office this past weekend. I don't know how much lower that will jump down or anything, but that's kind of kicked Batman down a little bit here in the US. But we'll see how far its legs go for the next week.
Well, Batman was #1 out of the US films for international this week. It had 25 million. down 49%. It has a total of 340.9 in international, and a total box office of 672.9. Is on track to pass 700 million next weekend, and possibly hit 800 million with global modest grosses from China, which tumbled 74% in the second weekend. So that was a big drop off in China. But like I said, we got to have some context with numbers here. And China has 30% of their theaters closed, so you're not batting at full percent there with China. But still, yeah.
Very, very nice. Now, another topic within the Batman, which is our big topic of the night. A little controversial.
Let's take an ad break before we jump into this big.
You
big
think that
topic.
it'll take a while? Okay, let's go ahead and jump into that ad break right now. Of course, guys, like I said before, we don't choose the ads. We don't choose how many times they repeat themselves, if they do. And we will be right back. And we are back. So, the Joker. That is the very big topic here for technically last week, but it did make a little bit of rumblings in our corners of Twitter. I'm gonna go with you first, Heinz. What was your reaction to the Joker in the Batman's deleted scene?
First off, I love the scene and the interaction between the characters. I'm not that big of a fan on the look of the Joker. I think it's a little bit too grindhouse, like a little bit too metal.
Do you know what it looks like? It looks like
the guy from Goonies that you shared with me, because it's pretty accurate.
No. I mean, yes, that's true, but it definitely looked like Will Smith smacked the shit out of that dude. That's what it looked like.
It looked even worse than that, Clay. It looked like it was like a deformity. Like it was not. It didn't look like it was caused by the acid, especially his teeth and that.
I know the first joke that I did make that week was that it definitely looks like oh shoot, I forgot his name. From the Goonies.
Sloth.
Yeah, Sloth from the Goonies. It looks like his face is crooked in some scenes. I will say this. I'm not a fan of the way he looks. I'm not a fan of his dialect, should I say? So there's a little bit of a twang in his voice that made it sound like he was attempting to sound like Heath Ledger's Joker. There was a little bit I don't know how else to explain the sound, but it was kind of squeaky at some endpoints of words. He was doing a lot of the licking and stuff like that.
Interject for one thing? I think it was one of the Mortal Kombat animated movies. I think you and Joel reviewed it. Or there was an animated property we reviewed, and you had this same issue about someone talking. And then we go to find out that from their accent, that's how they sounded when they tried to do a certain thing. Like it wasn't like I'm going to try to do this dialect. It was because I'm this person wasn't Scottish, but I'm doing it for Barry here because he's Scottish. This is the
Barry
way. Scottish, I think. Or
Scottish?
Irish.
Okay.
I think one of the two.
I can't remember.
But that could be. You could be right because there is a certain thing, the twinge to it. But that could be because of that. Because I remember you had an issue with. I can't remember what the voice actor for what character it was. Maybe it was He-Man, Masters of the Universe. I can't remember now, Clay, because I've reviewed too many animated things in the past, since this network's existed. But it was the past year, and I can remember we found that out. I think it was afterwards, or even during the review, we looked it up and managed to find out that that's why they sounded that way, because it did stick out. So, okay, he's Irish.
Yeah. On the game is saying he is Irish.
So maybe now I'm that could be wrong, and you could be right. He could be going for that because that is a moneymaker.
Another thing that I do not like about this scene is he is also attempting to do his best Bane impersonation, because I couldn't understand a freaking word he said throughout the entire scene. It was bad.
I got all the words, so I
needed subtitles or
didn't need
somebody interpreting for him or something.
I don't know
But
if it's
like,
because of where I'm from. If he's Irish, there's a lot of people that part Irish here, and if you get on a wharf with the local fishermen, you need more than subtitles to find out what they're saying. I promise you that. No, I promise you. So, and the other thing, listeners, Clay sometimes when he can't control his laughter is very similar to
oh
Barry's
shit.
Joker's laugh. But I want to jump in for just a couple things. I'm not a fan of the aesthetic. That's fine. Maybe he'll grow on me. Maybe he'll give me an actual reason why he looks that way. Maybe he's already fell in the vat of acid, and that's uh, the consequences. But just the back and forth with him and Batman, and the very end when he says to Batman, like you like that stopped him cold. That was great writing there in that end part where he says like you wish like you kind of think that they deserve it, and he starts laughing, and it's a really good thing that Joker would say to Batman that I've seen in comics. So I really enjoyed that part. And
Now
a thing that I didn't notice and watching the breakdown was when Batman's handed the file back, there's no paperclip,
the paperclip, yeah.
which is something I think we could see. Maybe we'll even get this scene in the Arkham show, and that's kind of what I want to talk to you about, which is why I thought this might go a little longer than just discussing
Yeah,
this scene.
because Matt Reeves has debated on putting him in the Arkham series, which I'm thinking, why wouldn't he be? He's in Arkham. So like, are you just gonna say that he is in a separate wing and just not cover those villains? Because
Well, we know
what's the
how
point of this
weird
Arkham
we
series
know
if
how weird WB is too, because Titans couldn't show us a Joker, but they did show us like the colors. They couldn't cast like you. There's no way they're allowing you to cast somebody to be Joker for that one episode. When in reality, I don't know why they wouldn't. Uh, and the same thing because Joker is such a cash cow with the just him on his own making $1 billion. You know how weird they are with their properties. Batman can't say he had sex with Catwoman or go down on Catwoman. All this stuff is like so weird because I would love to see him play, like you say. And with Espub saying break out of Arkham with his 2 paper clips, you could eventually get to that. You could get to now. He doesn't like MacGyver his way out. Maybe he just stabs one of the people coming in and check on it, and engineers escape that way. It's but you'd have to show the Batman and him deleted scene in the Arkham show to establish that yes, Batman came to him and he got the paperclip that way, or you're gonna have to do it completely other way for him to, and that's meaningless. Maybe that's what his plan was, and they cut it out. I have a question for you. Why do you think he cut it out? Does it not make sense? Does it take away from the Riddler? You think like why do you think he cut him out there? Because this is right after
for
the
one,
police commissioner is killed.
it would then take the idea of Riddler, like everybody would say, fuck the Riddler, I want Joker now. Where's
Yeah.
Joker? When is he coming back? Why is he not here? Like, why did you leave him there? Like, what's going on? So that's a big problem, which I had said even before this movie dropped. That was a big discussion here. Was like, if there was a Joker, would he overshadow anybody else in the film? I do think this would have overshadowed the rest of
That's
the
a good
film.
point. That's a good point. And it
Now,
kind of sticks out a little bit too, doesn't it?
so the second thing, I understand that this is a Batman movie that definitely does not hold your hand when it comes to continuity of the film or the origins of the film or whatnot, because they expect you to be like, hey, you know who Batman is and you know everything that's attached to Batman. So with that comes the Joker. Okay. Why on earth would Batman trust Joker enough to be like, hey, I want you to profile this person? It makes no sense
Well, it
for
doesn't
who
in
Joker is.
yeah, but we don't know who Joker is, and maybe Batman doesn't even know. Like maybe Joker isn't joke. Maybe he was the Red Hood guy and was committing his crime, and when he went into the vat of acid, instead of him like let's say from Batman '89 just washing up or any other way, Batman hauled him out and he got brought to Arkham. So maybe he hasn't become his crazy. Like he is his Joker. We know that just from his discussion. He's his crazy Joker, but maybe he hasn't had a chance to be that psychotic Joker yet out in the real world. You know what I mean? Maybe he was just robberies before, fell in the asset, and now he's gone crazy. I don't know. I'm just trying because we haven't seen anything. It's hard to speculate
Well,
why he's
the
done anything.
one of the things that this Joker said was, "Oh, was it our anniversary yet?" So there
Yeah.
is a relationship there. There is something there that that Batman has to say, okay, the only person that could figure out the Riddler besides me is this other psycho, which is the Joker. Like that's the why other what would be the other reason for Batman to even go to him if he doesn't think like that, you know? So that's what I think. And because of the relationship between Batman and Joker as an icon, it doesn't make sense. Batman should not trust Joker at any point at all.
Yeah.
Like, and especially with the conversation that happened. Now, I will say this because of how atrocious Joker looked, it actually made me appreciate the look of Pattinson's Batman in this scene. There was some really nice visual cinematography in this scene that I really enjoyed. But then, of course, for me, it got undercut by the fact that I couldn't understand one side of the conversation. So I was just like, you
We gotta
know,
get you some headphones and plug in and get you to listen to it again because Clay, the ending when he cuts him so deep and Batman just stands there like
oh, don't get me wrong. There was moments where I definitely heard the dialogue because there
he
was
was
the
like
conversation
F
of
man, he
there
knows.
there was like conversation about like how he was saying, "Oh, you know exactly who this person is." Masked justice and like saying all these different things to really like, oh, I know who this person is. This person is just like you. And like I heard some parts of the conversation, but there was a lot where I just couldn't hear him. He was mumbling. He was like talking very soft. And it may have been a creative choice because of the setting that they're in. You know, there would not really be any point to him just yelling and, you know, speaking loudly and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
SPub
one
says I'm pretty sure Reeves said why he cut it out. He said it would be repetitive of the latter Riddler scene, which makes sense
of
when you think
yeah,
about it.
with the later Riddler scene. Now, the one thing with that though that I do appreciate if they had both in there was the fact that like you could see more than one prisoner, you
Yeah.
know? Because I think it would be very much the scene of like that of before, you know, CW turned to shit was when Diggle went to Blackgate.
Argus, yeah.
Was it Argus or
I
was it
think
Blackgate?
it might have been Blackgate, but Argus owned it.
Okay,
Argus, yeah.
but you see all the villains and then you like just hear the laugh of Tara Strong and you know you're like, "Oh shit, there's Harley Quinn." But like you could have had that because that was part of my prediction and not saying just because I wanted it to be right, but like it helps with the aesthetic. It helps tell you that Reeves has already built this world. And for me, like I said, I didn't want Joker in here, but to help out a little bit, you could have just like shown him in the background. You could
I
have
would
just
tell.
teased him, which they did here in the actual cut of the movie, but it didn't really do anything for me, you know?
I will say one thing: the Joker Riddler scene makes far more sense with this deleted scene in the movie because Joker gets to see Riddler's work and appreciate it, and it would make sense why he would do that. So
Now, On the
yeah,
Game says if you have the Joker, keep him in the Arkham show until the third movie. Second movie should be Joker free.
I think
Now,
Reeves has
On the
said that
Game,
as well.
Reeves has said that there is a lot of people, again, because of the idea of the Joker, people want him already being like out and about. And like, I've heard people say that he should be a secondary villain in the second movie that not necessarily is the target of Batman, but he's just the nuisance that is kind of making a mess of everybody's problems, whether it be Batman, whether it be any other villain that Batman is trying to chase. He's just the form of chaos, which is what Joker just is. I'm not entirely sure how that would look. It might be a little messy, but it could work, you know?
I would just say in 4 days, just on IGN's account, it has 4.2 million views. That doesn't
The
include like WB or anything like that. Rotten Tomatoes, all of them have put it out, and I've seen
the
it go
deleted
right.
scene.
Just the deleted scene for IGN has 4.2 million views in 4 days, and that's just for their channel. You know, there's so many more. I didn't watch it there. So,
Man. And
it's,
then
it's
17.3 million people watched Will Smith smack the shit out of Chris Rock in just
gonna
one
get
day.
we're getting Hunger Games next year for that.
Damn.
For sure. Say they're like, my God, one slap gets us
Night
that much in
now
percentage.
now you need Will Smith in the Batman. That's what you need,
slap
I
the shit out
guess.
of slap the shit out of Joker. But no, it's very interesting, Clay, when you think about it, just because like I do enjoy some of the stuff about it, especially like him taking the paperclip. If we see hints of that throughout the Arkham movie, like I said, you have to put that actual scene in the Arkham show. Sorry, not Arkham movie, but in the Arkham show, you have to put that scene in because right now the scene doesn't exist. It's deleted. So like people make them
And
maintain that.
and that's something else that people are arguing. It's like, oh, you don't need to worry about this scene. It's not canon. It's deleted. They
It's
could
what the
easily
director wanted to do.
recast. Like,
What?
well, I've seen people say this on Twitter,
But God.
and just like you said, it's the artistic choice of the director.
Yeah.
And if he wants Barry, he's gonna put Barry.
And I don't want to hear anybody saying like, "Why do you shoot that if you were okay with a certain like seventh part to a film where it showed somebody just putting Joker and Batman together because you wanted to?" Because that's what all the directors. If you take over Batman, you want to have at least one. Because Reeves doesn't know how this film's going to do. He doesn't. In all honesty, he thinks he knows how it's going to do, but he doesn't. So if I was him, I would want to have the scene there. He has the scene regardless.
on the game. I know Twitter is not the real world. But it does. You do get you whenever Twitter gets a new thing, such as the Joker and everything else. We are part of a corner of social media that is full of fans, that is full of either haters or lovers. Doesn't matter. Some people like the chaos, like me. I have both. While Heinz loves that block button and he
Well,
will block
I
whoever.
used to love I used to be in the fire of it, Clay, but after a couple years, I'm like, no, I have gotten so good because even last year there was times where I had tweets written and I just deleted what I read, like what I had typed out and said, no, I'm not sending this. And now it's to the point
But
where I
like
don't even do
also
that anymore.
the reason why I keep it like this is to hear, because every once in a while, yes, not every once in a while, most of the time, haters will say some really stupid shit just because they want to cry and complain about shit. But sometimes they will say something as legitimately like, okay, that may be a conversation point. Let's talk about it. When
That's
it
why I'm
comes
in
to
the
the
GUA chat.
when it comes to the Joker and some controversy like this, like, because even people who liked the Batman looked at Barry's Joker and was like, oh, I understand why they didn't do this, right? Even Snell was like, okay, I enjoyed the scene, but I understand why they cut it. Here, I saw the scene, I didn't enjoy it. I'm glad they cut it.
Yeah.
Everybody is a part of the fandom. I can see the reasons why this was cut. Again, overshadows the main villain that is the Riddler.
Yeah.
Two, from what I heard, this is supposed to be immediately after the commissioner dies.
Yeah.
So it's within the first hour.
Yeah, because then people are going to be
And
asking,
then
"Where's Joker? Where's Joker?
for
Where's he coming back?" And then the
another hour and a
second film
half.
too, Clay. The second film too, especially if you had both those scenes in there, you're either going to think Joker's going to be the next big bad, or Joker and Riddler are going to team up. That's what you're going to
Exactly.
think. So yeah, it is. It is.
And then you put yourself in a corner saying, I have to do this for the next movie.
Well, but that must be a bit assuring that he doesn't want to like 100. He wants to do the story that he wants to do because I guarantee you, he like if the like WB would not have hated him putting Joker in there and building like let's build momentum towards Joker coming in next. But no, Reeves. I still think Reeves wants to do Mr. Freeze. It's just it's set up to be quite difficult in this as grounded of a world he's tried to make this.
Yeah, and I will say that too. One thing that this kind of world of the Batman is people have hope for a lot of supernatural stuff, and I still don't see it. Like, I
I
don't
can
know
see
what
Mr. Freeze, but I can't see Clayface or Poison Ivy. I really can't. Like, I just can't.
how do you do Mr. Freeze though?
Just him making the gun. I don't see the full him being. I can see him making the suit and making the gun type thing. Just
But
it's going to
not
be a
being
very
completely frozen
no. I
like he
don't see
usually
that
is.
part. Yeah, I feel like there's going to be. I don't know, Clay. I want it to be that, so I don't want to put any expectations on it. But
Mhm.
I enjoyed that film. So the first Batman. So I'm okay with what's going to come. But I would be okay. I'd be really would rather see Joker in the third film. I'd rather see
Yeah.
Joker and Court of Owls in the third film, and second film hints of the Court of Owls. So fingers crossed. But it's cool scene. And I wonder if that paperclip thing. You got to show that in the
Hold up,
Arkham
hold up,
series,
hold
right?
up. We got another thing to talk about when it comes to the Joker, just because this clown again just loves to talk about me on Twitter. Again at CMJ1923, he says prediction: Clay won't like it and will shit all over it. I didn't shit all over it. I said I didn't
No, you
like it.
didn't.
I didn't say it was the worst thing in the world. I just
No,
said I didn't understand what was said. I didn't like the face, and I didn't like the aesthetic of the Joker.
you said some
I
nice things about
understand why
Batman.
people. I did like Batman. I did
You said
like
some nice things. You said this is so bad it makes Batman look even better. So
exactly.
kind of a
So
compliment though.
so there you go,
I'm here to
Chris.
balance
A
that out,
compliment.
Chris. I'm here to balance that out because I did enjoy it, but I didn't enjoy the aesthetic. I got to be real, Chris. Like you can't. I can't be like, oh, everything is amazing. I just didn't enjoy the aesthetic, especially the teeth. Like I have got hit in the face, in the mouth with a puck a couple times. I shouldn't have better teeth than the Joker. I'm sorry. Obviously that's not true. Joker's teeth are outrageous. It's just it really took me aback. It really did. So that's
And also, don't want any of the Jada Pinkett Smiths out there to yell at us. Yes, Joker in this movie does have a disease, so he is like that. And even Reeves has said that he took influence from like elephantitis and like the Elephant Man and stuff like that. So all in the game says wouldn't have minded if both Joker scenes were left out. We're told that the Batman has the best rogues gallery, so let's just put that assertion to the test by putting different ones on the big screen. Yes, 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 yes. I believe that wholeheartedly. As Bub says, honestly, the only part I didn't like was the hair. Yeah, it honestly does look like he probably was dropped into a vat of waste and it just burned all of his hair. That's the
yeah.
first thing I thought of, unless the back of his head was completely morphed because like somebody beat their shit out of him. Joker has cool hair. Yeah, you just look at Jared Leto, that sexy straight neon green hair. Um
If you can
let's
get
go
past the
ahead.
tattoo, if you can get past the tattoo, I know some people that can't. It's
Damaged.
such a stupid thing to put in. I'm sorry. I don't think it's a very good idea.
I mean, he had a tattoo in the comics. Let's go
Yeah,
ahead
so
and jump into another ad break right before we talk about some HBO Max stuff as well as some
some
CW.
news. Yeah.
Yeah, some CW news. So we will take one more ad break and we will be right back. And we are back. So, where do you want to go to first? Do you want to do the first bit of news? Well, let's just small little segment here. Batgirl has wrapped filming. They're
Yes.
done with their
March
initial.
31st is the last day,
Oh well,
but
yes,
Leslie Grace has done that.
yeah, Leslie Grace is completely done. I think that is very very good. They have plenty of time for their post and fixing some stuff up. Whether they need reshoots and stuff like that, of course, that will come later. But this is great timing. I think that especially with the new slate being pushed, we getting that new date for Flashpoint, this will for sure, knocking on wood here, WB, setting their mark for after the Flashpoint movie, and everything will look good.
Won't ever confirm that because of the crap show we got like last month with the trailer on the front of Batman. Like, there's still one of the dumber marketing decisions so you had to know this was coming. So, but yeah, it's good news. I'm excited for this. It sucks, but this is what happens when you want everything to connect. Then if one thing gets delayed and something's connected to it, it's going to get delayed too. So that's where we're at with Batgirl, because we probably could have saw it a little earlier. But I'm excited for this film, Clay. I can't wait. I'm excited for the stuff they're doing on HBO Max with Batgirl and Blue Beetle. That just has me, and hopefully Black Canary. That has me like, yeah, come on with the HBO Max.
Yeah. The next bit of news, we got some casting news that actually dropped today. Fellow co-host Joe and Chris dropped these. We got a casting for, I believe, Obsidian for the season 3 of Stargirl. Now, let me try to find that article real quick. Got it right here.
The brother of the Green Lantern, I think.
Yes, Tim Gabriel has been cast as Green Lantern's son, Obsidian, in DC Stargirl season 3. I still think there could have been a really good connection with last season with Obsidian. They kind of just they mentioned him so many times and just left that open. I guess for season 3, of course, guys, it has finished filming. We just don't know when that date will drop for when that release will be. So time will tell. But another casting news here is CW's Gotham Knights finds its Stephanie Brown. I think it was Joe that was like, "Oh, they have Stephanie Brown. I'm definitely watching this." I'm telling you right now, everybody in the GUA, there is no amount of superheroes that can make me watch this show. None.
I will check out one episode. That's
not
actually, I can't even confirm that because I didn't check out Naomi, so I can't really confirm that I'll check it out. I think I will, but Clay, I'm with you. I'm not thrilled about this, and I think this would be a good way to swing into the other bit of news we have with CW renewing some, but not all of its shows. I think that little bit of casting news, that show, I think that show's happening now. I really do, because we thought a couple weeks ago when we talked about it that we get a Gotham Knights movie, we wouldn't get the show. I think with this announcement for what has been renewed and what hasn't, I think this show is coming in, and one or two of the other shows are going out, listeners, because we had CW announced it was renewing several shows, but the DC shows that it's announced it was renewing is Superman and Lois for his 3rd season, woo, and The Flash for DC CW record 9th. I know. Somebody just needs to watch Old Yeller and then go with The Flash, take it out back, and
now I will say this: I understand. I think Grant Gustin is making $200,000 an episode.
Yeah, he went big.
Yeah, so he's making a lot for this 9th season. But do you really? So here's the thing that kind of irks me a little bit. Arrow went 8 seasons, right? And for a lot of people who enjoyed the CW shows, Arrow was peak CW until The Flash came on. And then they were like, holy shit, they were actually able to put a superhero onto the small screen. Because even Smallville, we love Smallville. I'm a huge huge Superman fan. That was my gateway drug to television, live action television stuff as a high schooler. But it was not a Superman show. It was a Clark Kent show. That's always what it was meant to be. So putting The Flash out there, and definitely by season 2, I was like, holy shit, this show is fucking amazing. And then seeing what it's turned out to be, I'm like, it's not fair that The Flash gets to be on Smallville's level almost at 10 seasons and Arrow doesn't.
Well, let's not say things are forever.
No, I'm gonna say forever. It's never gonna happen.
I don't think you're right there, sir. After Dexter
I think
return,
it's 100%.
And we got this fad of bringing things back in a couple years. I think Skipper could be back
Okay,
for
but
one
it
season.
just ended. Like it
Oh,
just ended though.
Dexter didn't end that long ago, was it? Like, I don't know. I didn't
Okay,
watch the show live.
I didn't watch Dexter either.
Maybe
Actually,
like
so
2008, and I feel terrible now because it's like 10 years ago, and he wouldn't be able to play that character 10 years ago. So,
let's see.
listeners
Last
know how I
season for
feel about
Dexter
listeners know
was
how I feel about the Flash right now. But Grant Gustin, Stephen Amell said something one time that stuck out to me when he accepted like I think
2013.
seventh and eighth seasons or something, or sixth and seventh. It would have been fiscally irresponsible when the deal they offered him for him not to accept it. And I believe that's kind of the same case here for Grant Gustin. I don't see this. Maybe this will go 10 seasons, but that'll be the max. It shows on fumes now. I I'm shocked that it got renewed so early. But with that not getting renewed, we got a whole list of Legend of Tomorrow, Stargirl, Batwoman, and Naomi. None of those were renewed for another season. And we got the Gotham Knights casting stuff there. So that's coming. Do you think we're going to lose a couple, if not all, these shows?
I think so, because we did get another superhero show, Riverdale.
God. Yeah. I was wondering if that was going to get brought up.
So I
Daredevil,
think,
but not.
but deaf. I don't know. I think because even the showrunners for Batwoman were like, oh well, if we do get a third season, then we will go this route, or fourth season or whatever.
Fourth season.
I don't even know what season they're on. So there's a story that apparently they want to tell, but they also said, oh, but we would have to get permission by WB. I'm like, okay, whatever.
You're not having a prayer. And saying Legends has been going on for so long now. Legends has joked me because if you got powers, wait bye because chances are either you're going to go out to be written off the show or you're going to take away your powers. So I'm okay with Legends.
These shows definitely have a limit.
Yeah,
and I think we have reached, like, I will never say superhero fatigued for movies, but as far as CW, I think there is a fatigue for it. I think that, like, honestly, I think you should throw it all away and then start new. Like,
you could have a big event and start new. Yeah.
Well, not even
a big event, but
don't even try to make it in continuity that everything gets reset. I think you should just like let these shows die off. Like right now, Superman and Lois is having a great run.
Yeah.
Right on its success. Keep it going. Everything else, let it die. Let it just burn out.
Stargirl, I'm okay with Stargirl right now. Like, if you want to, like, if you had a plan where there was an ending in sight, like you knew what you're going to do, then that's fine. Like, I don't need an abrupt cancellation because that hasn't gotten too bad yet. But the other shows I have no time for. So if they want to get rid of them, if there's apologies if you're fans of these shows, like I used to be. There's nobody, and I mean, well, maybe besides Brent, there's nobody that rode harder for DCCW back when it was like first 4 or 5 seasons of Arrow and first 2 or 3 seasons of Flash. I don't know many people that rode harder for those shows than I did. Like, I loved them and they were great. And Arrow, at least, like, I can go, like, my favorite seasons are like 2, 5, 1, 8.
I thought you were gonna say 4.
No, God, 4 is the last one. But there's so many different like at least like that, where Flash goes 1, 2, and then pick your order for 3, 4, 5, 6. It actually goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in my enjoyment. So yeah, I don't know if that's going to last, but I know that I really think we're getting a Gotham Knights show now, Clay, because of this.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate, but I think you might be right. As well as how it will run, who knows? It looks like they're putting a lot of different characters from the Batman mythos in here that I didn't necessarily think they were going to. So they probably have that going for them. SWEP says, have a crisis event spanning every CW show, even the non-DC ones. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, let's have Riverdale guys show up and punch Superman in the face or something. I would be shocked. You know, remember the way they had to show Superman wasn't as strong when his heat vision failed or he wasn't hopeful? like
with Supergirl,
yeah,
and
they will
then
take
like
shots.
have Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles come in from Supernatural. They make their comeback and shit. No, thank you. No,
No, we're good with that.
that would definitely no,
We just
please.
have a couple little news items left, Clay. James Gunn teases more Justice League like cameos in future DCEU projects. There's also a hint that he has another project with DC.
Deathstroke. Crossing my
I'm hoping
fingers.
for something. I'm hoping for something
Crossing my
like
fingers.
that. He said to Games Radar, I think we're going to see more connections in some stuff as we move forward with Peacemaker and other shows at HBO Max. So those cameos will keep coming. I don't know if the Justice League is going to show up in every season of Peacemaker. That might be a one-time thing. We'll see. He also mentioned that they have like 16 minutes of extra footage where Ezra Miller is making fist jokes. So
Yeah,
for those people
but
who said like, "Oh my god, that's not what he would do," seemed like he enjoyed himself enough to do improv for multiple minutes after.
But also, All in the Game says any news on J.J. Abrams' JL Dark universe? No, there has not been. But also, something that we continue to talk about is there is no news on the Green Lantern show. I just saw
No,
something that reminded me of that today. It has been almost 2.5 years since that show was announced and
couldn't
actually like
have,
moving forward.
couldn't
And
have, couldn't have a Green Lantern in a scene for 40 seconds because you had plans for him, and I'm still waiting to see those goddamn plans because that was my Green Lantern from the Justice
yeah,
League animated series. That was my Green Lantern, John Stewart. I wanted to see him, and you're
yeah.
telling me you had plans. Oh, don't even talk about Garrett Evan. I don't even want to talk about that album game. That pisses me off. It was going to be $60 million, very like low budget, and him. And
It
don't
would
even.
have been amazing.
My
Now,
God, furious.
I'm not gonna say that it's possible still, but I do think there is a glimmer of hope because I always like ever since I saw the behind the scenes footage of James Gunn in the meetings with his staff and doing the concept art and everything else, there was a giant photo of Deathstroke with the rest of the Suicide Squad. So
Yeah,
I think he has plans for him. I hope that he is able to, fulfill those plans. And I just want a Deathstroke series. That's all I want.
album game says LOL. Album game, that's a trigger point for me. It really irks me just because that's so easy to be made, and you don't even need to care about the character, even if it flops. That's not going to do anything to Deathstroke. Very furious. But we have one other thing to talk about that has made me furious for the past 2 years, which is DC Universe Infinite is finally going global. Is finally going global. And honestly, it's so pathetic how this was announced. There's no build up, there's no teasing or nothing. It was
There
dropped at
was
9 a.m. in the morning. No, the teasing was teasing me as a person, sending me emails saying, "Here's all this
okay,
awesome
yeah.
DC Universe content we have," and I get in and be like, "Oh, it's not available for your region yet." That's the teasing. That teasing was done to me and every other international listener because this said this was going to happen immediately when DCU shut down. It said
Yeah.
this was going to happen immediately, and no, it did not. I'm finally getting it. About damn time, DC. It's coming to. It's available right now in Canada and launching in Australia and New Zealand on the 29th, so tomorrow, and then in Brazil and Mexico, summer of 2022. Listeners in Brazil and Mexico, don't hold out your hope if they didn't give you an exact date because, like the HBO Max stuff, don't trust this as far as I can throw it. I'm glad I've gotten on. It works. It works here in Canada, so it's good. But I won't promise anyone else because I was waiting so long for that. It's so frustrating, and I think they should have just had a bigger announcement than what they did.
Yeah, but again, I don't know. It's very unfortunate. The thing about comics is us as fans, we want like them to we want the marketing team and we want these companies to love them as much as we do. And when it comes to comics, it's just like, oh, here's this. Oh, here you go. Like there's nothing that makes it
There's no
like
synergy.
yeah, there's
Like
nothing
the
that really pushes it. I know that like the creators will attempt to do something like that of a Tom Taylor. He gets everybody hyped up, like, "Oh, I got something in store for you tomorrow." And when he first announced Deceased, he was like hinting at clues for like
yeah,
an
I like that
entire
stuff.
week
I did. I
And
remember
then
that.
and then he finally announced it. But those are all the creators. It's not actually DC. It's not, AT&T or WB or whoever, HBO Max. It's none of these guys. It's the
Discovery.
creators. So it's very unfortunate. I wish that they would do that kind of stuff because there's fans out there who will enjoy it. There's people out there like yourself that would appreciate it more to be like, oh, you do care about me because you put all this effort into it. Now you're just throwing me a few scraps and a few bones to say, hey, now you finally got it. Now stop, spamming us with all these emails. That's what it seems like they're
Good
doing.
luck getting my money. That's all I'm going to say about that. That's all I'm going to say about that. I want to say one other thing. Shout out to askers and people on Twitter for crying because I don't know how you didn't anticipate if you made a Twitter poll and stuck a certain director's movies in there. I don't know how you didn't think that.
Snell last night, his mind was, I don't know exactly if his mind was blowing or he was just like, oh shit, this actually won. Zack Snyder's Justice League.
That's so hard.
Won the, what was it?
Oscar cheer moment, like the loudest
cheer
cheer
moment. And then Zack Snyder's Army of the Dead won the
Oscar fan favorite film.
Oscar fan favorite film. They beat Cinderella. It seemed like they were not going to beat Cinderella, which I just find hilarious.
If you had it on, if you included Facebook, Instagram, that I don't think it did, but it just went Twitter, which was so dumb. I gotta share one story about the Zack Snyder Justice League thing. I had no don't even care about that. It wasn't going to. Friend of the show, fellow GUA member Brent, I think he either shared it or replied on it saying, yeah, I don't really care about these polls, but I'm voting for Spider-Man No Way Home because it was amazing. I, honest to God, I 100% cross my heart, hope to die, swear my God, dog's life. I honestly, Brent, I just voted for Zack Snyder's Justice League solely to cancel out your vote, just for fun. I didn't even care. I never looked at anything what the tallies were or anything after that because it just came up on my feed. That's the only way it came up. Brent either replied to or quote tweeted and saying I don't really normally vote for polls, but I'm going to vote for Spider-Man No Way Home, and I just did that just for it. The whole thing.
Patronizing awards on the game. But I will say this: now you can officially say Academy Award winning. Zack Snyder's Justice League.
No, it's not actually. Don't get the thing. It's just really funny to see. Honestly, when I watched the video of it just showed the
DC
background.
now has
Everybody's sitting there. Everybody's sitting there, Clay. All those actresses and actors, all those film producers, and that came up on screen. And everybody in theaters. Just.
I'm just saying.
My.
2 DC films having Academy Awards.
I'm not going to go blatantly on saying Academy Awards or anything. We don't need trigger people. I honestly, and I enjoy, I enjoyed No Way Home more than I enjoyed Zack Snyder's Justice League. So, sorry, DC fans. I love both of them. But, you put up a fan vote. So that's just what happened. I found it funny. I love people saying they spam the vote or bots or all the stuff they always say when that or coordinated attack or all that. Who cares? I don't care anymore. I just thought it was really funny. Thought the reactions were funny.
I think it was more funny that when it won, there was an actual attempt for people to be like, fan voting is stupid. These awards are dumb.
I could have told you that from the All-Star
games. I don't want
to
watch the Oscars anymore. I'm like, it's just a 5-second little segment. Chill out, and you can watch Will Smith slap whoever he wants.
It's just funny, Clay. Just funny just to see it there and see people get so hubbub. And I just want to say this, shout this out to listeners, because I know Clay knows that those crazy Snyder fans, if that didn't win, they would be saying it's rigged, it's all against. We know that too. We're not saying that. We're just
100%. If Spider-Man won, there would have been a trend of cancel the Oscars. Zack should have won. Stop
Justice
the vote,
for Zack or something like that. But
it was hilarious that
there is a fan base. That movie was fire, and that scene. Anytime that scene comes across my timeline, I'm going to retweet it because I love it.
I will also say this as an audio engineer. I'm always going to say that now. If you go to YouTube go to Junkie XL's YouTube channel. He does a full breakdown of
Yeah.
that song
Yeah.
from beginning to end, how he constructs every single part of it, everything. It is a masterpiece of a song. Go watch it. Just go
Yeah.
watch that video. Absolutely
Just
amazing.
just fun, just such a fun scene. I don't know how I didn't realize that was going to happen because of some of the things we were teased leading up to it, like in trailers and that. I just forgot about it as I was watching the movie, and I was fully enveloped, so I didn't expect it to come. So it was fun time, Clay. It's just funny that people are getting
I
up in
don't
arms about it.
I don't know if Snell is actually listening to this while we are live right now, but he legit just tweeted out people celebrating or being mad at an Oscar fan vote thing that also spent the whole year trashing on the Oscars is very, very strange thing. It
Yeah.
is. Like there was so many contradicting tweets in such a vast segment of that night of last night. It was hilarious. I love the
Going on
hypocrisy of so many people.
all day too. Yeah, hypocrisy on both sides, and it's just hilarious to me. Wouldn't care. Nobody's going. I'm never going to remember this. Like I'll never say like Oscar cheer moment winner. Zach. No, see, like I can't even remember it.
No,
But
no, no.
just
See, I'm not gonna. It's just Academy Award winning
oh
Zack
my
Snyder's
god,
Justice League.
no, you. Well, yeah, of course, the guy who always puts in Zack Snyder as a blueprint is good to do that.
Oh yeah. So real
Oh, I
quick on the
did.
game.
Sorry, on game. I did check that out. We got caught with Clay there. It's very good story, and yeah, he is 100% right about action and choreography. It's very good, especially for like what he's using in that. I just
Yeah.
TV show too is the really special thing about TV show is if you got great fight choreography, you got to have a great whole team because you have to pump that out a lot quicker than if you were training for a movie. So you should really go listen to Michael Alan Richardson and Michael Rosenbaum talk about like what he had to go through for the Reacher shoot
Yeah.
because it was a good interview. But yeah, listeners, that's everything we have. You can find the show at DC Alliance GUA on Twitter. You can find myself at Travis_156 and Clay. Where can they find you?
You can always find me at Fanboy Clay on Twitter. If you go to the bio, you can see the link tree to the links to all of the shows that I host, that including Batman News Weekly, DC Alliance, Ranger Alliance, and of course, Star Wars Alliance. And just a small note here, I want to make sure that I say it so I don't forget it. I am going to be moving again this week. Very unfortunate, just shit hit the fan kind of fast after we found out that Abby was pregnant and possibly mold in the apartment. So next week, I am going to be taking a break from the GUA, just trying to, put everything back where it's supposed to be when I get into my new place. I'm just going to take a break. So I will be on, not next week, but the week after that for DCA. As far as the Superman and Lois episodes, probably push those back a little bit, but everything will be fixed or set up correctly in the future. All right. Well, I got the burps. I have the hiccups. So we will go ahead and call it a night. Thank you so much for lasting this long. Well, very lively chat tonight. Thank you so much. And remember, G.I. Jane 2024. We will see it. All right, guys. See you later.
Later, guys.